Your news starts now.
Well, good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Dorothy Sherman. This is News 12 now at 11. A former Chickamauga police officer and current Walker County detention officer is behind bars tonight and facing a murder charge for the death of his son. It's our top local story tonight. According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the Chickamauga Police Department got a 911 call at 11:54. Someone had been shot in the chest at a home on Hood Avenue. Officers identify the victim as 30-year-old Lance Wooten. He was pronounced dead at the scene. His father, 58-year-old Pat Wooten, has been charged with 1 count of malice murder and is being held at the Catoosa County Jail. Authorities say Pat was a former Chickamauga police officer and is currently employed as a Walker County detention officer. They say Pat lived at the home on Hood Avenue. If you know any information about this case, officers ask you contact the GBI Calhoun office or Chickamauga Police. The family of a man who died in the Bradley County Jail are taking action to get answers and are in the process of filing an $11 million lawsuit against the county. The mother and sister of Billy Joe Rogers and their attorney, John Wolf, addressed the suit in a press conference in front of the Bradley County Courthouse today. The complaint was filed on April 28th. That's a year from the date that deputies found Rogers beaten and unresponsive. The document alleges Bradley County held Rogers in an overcrowded prison with dangerous, violent inmates. Wolf says the lawsuit isn't about the money, it's about addressing issues. Meanwhile, his family members say they just want to know what happened and want to move on with their lives.
It's just about the entire system that needs to be uprooted, needs to be looked at, examined, and then be reformed.
To explain it to your grandkids and to make them think, you know, the cop's supposed to protect and serve, but when you don't get no answers or nothing, you don't have answers to tell them.
He wouldn't hurt nobody. And just think of how he had to suffer and how they killed him. It's just a tragedy.
Rogers was in custody for failing to appear in court on charges relating to loose dogs that attacked a woman. Last year, the Bradley County Sheriff's Office Department released a statement saying the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is conducting the investigation regarding the death of Mr. Rogers. It has always been our protocol to contact the 10th Judicial District Attorney's Office for any inmate death. This protocol was followed. The man who shot back during the July 16th terrorist attack is moving on. Lieutenant Commander Tim White in a Navy Operational Support Center Chattanooga change of command ceremony. The ceremony took place this morning at the Tivoli Theater. He is relieved by Lieutenant Commander Joseph Tanner. Several elected officials attended the ceremony. White was given a proclamation from Hamilton County Mayor Jim Coppinger and Chattanooga Mayor Andy Burke. He was also given a key to the city. Many thanked him for his time in Chattanooga and for his bravery during the attack.
Lieutenant Commander White will be greatly missed by the citizens of Chattanooga, Tennessee, who wish Lieutenant Commander White the very best in his new assignment to the Naval Air Station of Pensacola, Florida, and will always welcome him and his family back with open arms. Now, therefore, I, Andy Burke, Mayor of the City of Chattanooga, do hereby proclaim May 6, 2017 as U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander Timothy White Day.
Chattanoogans, thank you for caring. Thank you for rallying around the servicemen and women and their families and the veterans. We've experienced your support in amazing ways, especially over the course of the past 2 years. It has been awesome. I hope that you will continue to care and continue to be an amazing example of what working together and what loving each other like a community looks like.
5 soldiers lost their lives during that tragic attack almost 2 years ago. White is credited for helping prevent more lives lost. Today marks the 15th anniversary of a tragic loss. Police officer Julie Jacks was shot and killed with her own service weapon May 6, 2002. She was trying to apprehend Isaac Jones. Jones fled from a hospital during a mental evaluation. He was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years. Officer Jacks was named Rookie of the Year in 2001. She worked for the Chattanooga Police Department for around 3 years. A memorial and visitation is set for Monday for the man allegedly killed by 2 Dayton residents. John Stevens was killed at an Exxon gas station in Nashville. 15-year-old Trinity Quinn and 28-year-old Daniel Clark are facing criminal homicide charges. Police released surveillance footage of Quinn and Clark attempting to steal a vehicle. Quinn's family believes that she'll be tried as an adult. Family members think the two had a romantic relationship. The pair also faces charges of aggravated robbery and attempted auto theft. Clark is scheduled for a hearing Friday. Taking you now to Texas, where a police officer charged with the murder of an unarmed black student is out of jail on bail tonight. Jordan Edwards, an honor roll student and athlete, was laid to rest today. Tony DeCoppel has more.
The funeral was held today for 15.
12 now at 11. Your news starts now.
Good evening, I'm Dorothy Sherman. Thanks for joining us for News 12 at 11. A man is injured after a house fire in East Lake. That's tonight's top local story. Details are limited right now, but here's what we know. A house caught on fire at 2603 7th Avenue. The fire was out by 10:45. A 911 call came in just after 9 tonight. Firefighters and other emergency personnel were on the scene. Chattanooga fire officials say one man was pulled from the home and transported to a nearby hospital. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Several people are taking to social media to express their condolences and say they're praying for the family of 30-year-old Lance Wooten. Authorities say Wooten was shot in the chest and died. His father, 58-year-old Pat Wooten, was charged with 1 count of murder and was booked into the Catoosa County Jail. Georgia Bureau of Investigation officials say Pat is a Walker County Corrections officer and former Chickamauga police officer. Authorities say police got a call about the shooting at Pat's home on Hood Avenue Saturday. That's where they found the victim. He was pronounced dead on the scene. The body will be sent to the GBI crime lab for an autopsy. Contact the GBI Calhoun office or Chickamauga police if you have any information on this case. Power is restored for several Northwest Georgia residents after a power pole caught fire today. Workers spent part of their day putting up this pole. According to a Georgia Power spokesperson, a tree fell on a power line, causing the pole to catch fire. It happened on Highway 41 between Clearview Drive and Boys Mountain Road. That's in South Ringgold. Power was out for several hours. Outages impacted just over 1,200 customers. Power was restored sometime before 5 today. A visitation and celebration of life will be held tomorrow for the man killed at a Nashville Exxon gas station. A visitation for 58-year-old John Stevens starts at 10 at the West Harpeth Funeral Home in Nashville. A celebration of life will follow at noon. Stevens was killed on Tuesday. Dayton residents 15-year-old Trinity Quinn and 28-year-old Daniel Clark are facing criminal homicide, aggravated robbery, and attempted auto theft charges. Stevens is survived by his wife Peggy and dog Jade. On to national politics this evening, Sally Yates, a top Justice Department official in the Obama administration, is set to testify tomorrow about Russia's attempts to interfere in the presidential election. Yates was fired by the Trump administration in January after refusing to defend the president's travel ban in court. Errol Barnett has the latest.
Ahead of Monday's Senate Judiciary hearing on Russia, President Trump focused on Democrats this morning, tweeting, "When will the fake media ask about the Dems' dealings with Russia?" Former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates will testify for the first time about her warnings to the Trump White House regarding former National Security Advisor General Mike Flynn. Senate Judiciary Committee member Dianne Feinstein.
She apparently has some information as to who knew what when that she is willing to share.
Republican committee member Senator Roy Blunt said Flynn's contacts aren't suspicious, but lying about it is.
What was particularly wrong was General Flynn not being truthful about the substance of what he said.
Meanwhile, President Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner is facing questions about conflicts of interest. As reports emerged, his sister, Nicole Meyer, spent the weekend promoting the family business and controversial EB-5 visas in China. The visas grant wealthy foreigners and their families a conditional 2-year green card after investing at least $500,000 in U.S. businesses. In this statement, his personal lawyer tells CBS News that Kushner has no involvement with his previous companies, divested his interests, and is not a beneficiary of the family trust. A Kushner company spokesperson also sent CBS News a statement apologizing on behalf of Ms. Meyer if, quote, mention of her brother was in any way interpreted as an attempt to lure investors. Errol Barnett, CBS News, Branchburg, New Jersey.
New legislation is allowing guns on Georgia schools' campuses. Governor Nathan Deal recently signed a bill very similar to one that was pitched last year, that could mean new policies for universities and colleges.
School officials across the state of Georgia are working on policy changes. Thursday, Governor Nathan Deal put his signature on House Bill 280. The legislation allows weapons carry license holders to bring concealed weapons on certain areas of college campuses. University System of Georgia Chancellor Dr. Steve Wrigley is telling the schools he oversees that the system office will be issuing implementation guidance to all institutions. In a statement, he says, quote, "We recognize that many have strong feelings about the new law. It is important that we all work together across our campuses to implement the new law appropriately and continue to provide a top quality education to our students." The bill does not allow weapons to be carried by anyone on specific parts of campus. That includes athletic sporting event facilities, student housing, preschool or child care space, certain school classrooms, offices, and other rooms. In a statement, Governor Deal calls these areas campuses' most sensitive places. Allison Schreiner, Senior Executive Director of Communications for the Technical College System of Georgia, tells me they're also working with their schools and police chiefs to ensure they'll be fully compliant when the new law takes effect. Work that will likely bring in new changes for schools and its students.
House Bill 280 takes effect July 1st. A food company in Georgia is recalling some sausage links that may be contaminated with plastic materials. The recall involves 24-ounce packages of Purdue Italian-style organic chicken sausage. The Agriculture Department says 3 consumers complained about finding some blue plastic materials in the food, but there are no confirmed reports so far that anyone was injured. About 2,000 pounds of the recalled sausage has been shipped to distributors in Connecticut and Maryland. If you have purchased it, food safety officials say you should not eat it. Turning to some health news this evening, the problem with not getting enough sunshine and how a little more physical activity could provide big benefits for children. Don Champion has some of this week's top health stories.
Researchers at Johns Hopkins